Hey guys, it's me, Christina. So I have my June wrap up, so let's get started. So the first book I read in June was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is the second book in the series, and I love this book. I have a full review on it. I loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Second book I read in June was The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. And this one was a very emotional book, and it's about a girl named Star, and she witnesses her friend Khalil being shot by a white cop. And it is a very emotional ride, but I still love this book, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Hidden by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy. Now, I've never read anything by Serena Bowen, but I've read The Deal by Elle Kennedy, like some of that series, and I love that, and I love this. And it is about two guys. It is a GLBT book, and I loved it. It was so cute, but very just like it had like sexy moments, and there was just it was very funny too. Like I love the two characters; they're just really funny, and I just loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then I read the sequel, Us, and I love this one. This one was a little slower, but I still loved it, and I read both of these with the audiobook, and I love the narrators who do the voices because they do two separate voices, which I really like, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. And then I read Talking as Fast as You Can from Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Lauren Graham. I actually just read this on audio, so like I spent like the entire day mostly just listening to this book while I did other things, and I loved this book. I love Gilmore Girls. It's like one of my favorite TV shows from when I was younger, and I just love Lauren Graham, and listening to her stories. It was just very interesting, and I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read like a few of like the Bane Chronicles books. The first one I read was What Really Happened in Peru, and I've been listening to these on audio, and I have the physical book, and I really love Magnus. Magnus is one of my favorite characters. He's just so funny, and like for a while I actually forgot that he was bisexual. I just thought he was gay, and it's probably because I haven't read the Moral Instruments in a while. And so yeah. So I read What Really Happened in Peru, and I love this one. This one was really funny. Then I read The Runway Queen, which was very slow, but I still loved it, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Vampire Scones and Edmund Herondale. Now this one was like one of my favorites because we got to meet Will's dad, and it was just really interesting, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And the last book I read in June was The Midnight Heir, and this one was my favorite so far of the Bane Chronicles because we get to meet Will and Tessa's son, James, and Will and Tessa are in this. And Magnus ends up like meeting James when he like is drunk, and it was just really funny, and I just really loved it, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Now, I'm going to pick some favorites. My top favorite is A Court of Mist and Fury and Him, and Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham, and last is Midnight Air. So I'm going to talk about the book I plan to read in June, and another book. I also plan to read You by Caroline Kepnes. I think that's how you say the name. I'm not sure. And I want to start reading Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, because I recently purchased this month, and it was my birthday in June, so I was like, oh, let's get more books. So I'm gonna go over the books that I'm currently reading. So I'm still reading Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm on page 57, and I love Karou. She's a very interesting character, and I love these covers. They're just so pretty. I'm still reading A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. I got these bookmarks in June off Etsy, and they're like Night Court inspired, and I'm on page 119. I'm reading Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Still, this one is a little slow, and it's been taking me a long time to read, and I'm on page 107. I'm reading the Bane Chronicles. I'm on, which story am I on? The Rise of Hotel Dormont, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very interesting. I love Magnus. He's like one of my hero characters. I'm on page 213. And I started reading Scrappy Little Nobody by Anna Kendrick. I love Anna Kendrick. Like, she's one of my favorite actresses. And I'm on page 51. And I'm listening to this with the audiobook, and she narrates it, so it's like really funny. And then I recently started reading Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock by Matthew Quick, and he wrote the Silver Linings Playbook, apparently. So it's about this kid, this guy named Leonard Peacock, and it's his birthday, and he wants to kill his former best friend, and I don't know anything else about it. I was just in the library and I saw it, and it looked interesting, and I'm on page 9, and I'm listening to this with the audio, so yeah. And I'm reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and I've heard mixed things about this, and it's really slow so far, but it's very interesting. It's about this guy named, I can't say this kid's name, and he is like exiled and to be raised with the king, and his son is Achilles, and I don't really know much about this other than that, and I'm on page 21. And lastly, I'm reading A Court of Wings and Ruin, which I love so far. It's just so good. I love Rhys and Farah, I can't even pick a favorite character because I have so many, and I have this bookmark that I got off Etsy, and it's the Night Court. And I'm on page 163. So, other things that happened in June. Well, I turned 23. I have some other favorites. Movie-wise, I didn't watch many movies. I watched one movie, but TV show-wise, I started rewatching 30 Rock, and it's one of my favorite shows, and I'm on the last season. And I got an iPod Touch for my birthday, so because I'm pro Android, and I prefer having iPods but not iPhones. So I've been listening to this podcast called I think it's called The Librarian Is In, and it's about and these like two librarians, they talk about books, and it's from the New York Public Library, and which I think is very interesting, and it's just really relaxing to hear about like people talking about books, and I love podcasts. Music wise, I've been listening to Halsey's new album, Lord's new album, um, and I've been obsessed with musicals like for a while, but I've religiously been listening to one musical in particular this month, which is called Be More Chill. Um, I think that's the name of it. Um, Let me check because I have it on my iPod. Yeah, and it's by Joe Iconis, and it's like a very like electric music. Like I'd say if you don't like musicals, you might not like it, but I don't know. I've only been listening to musicals for a little while. Um, and my favorite songs on here are More Than Survive, Two Player Game, um, Michael in the Bathroom, The Smartphone Hour, The Play, and Voices in My Head. So I highly suggest you listening to that musical. It's very good. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye, guys.